don't even know what this guy's talking about. The depth of knowledge. This is a 401. It's a 501 class on offensive line play. That's what Bill Callahan's dishing out every time they're on the field. Welcome in to the Hot Read Podcast for Monday, May the 13th. I'm your host, Easton Freeze, director of published content here at BroadwaySportsMedia.com. We're also brought to you by the 440 Podcast Network. You can follow me on social media at Easton Freeze. He decided that he only needed one day off from his day off. It's producer JT who is back with us. JT, who you can follow at JT_Runke on social media. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I just got back, busy day for me coming all the way back to Nashville. Not even, I did bother to show up. I didn't bother to actually
put in your front door. I said, find the nearest wall.
Yeah. And
get a chair, set up your computer and get on.
Because guess what? We're on time and we're on time, baby. And that's what we are. But, I did bother to do that. And I just would like to say, even though I didn't bother to show up on Thursday, right, I did bother to check in and let you know that your mic was muted, Bozo. And you know what? If I wasn't there, you may have gone the entire rest of the show without a mic on. So you know what? There are some things that
I have said more than once. I wouldn't keep my head on straight if it weren't for the organization of producer JT here on the show. And that's why it's imperative on you to not take days off like that. So
that's fair. I'm
glad you were able to cash in your one annual PTO day. You got it out of the way in May, so we're good to go. The rest, it's a very legal, functioning, safe workplace we've got going here at the Hot Read Podcast. We are here for just a couple of minutes to shut up, Jacob. Tell me I'm muted. And now people are going to gaslight me now for the rest of my existence that I'm muted and terrify me. Don't do that. It's Mother's Day, first of all. So happy Mother's Day to your mother, who you spent a lot of the weekend with. You guys I heard, which sounded like a good time.
Yeah,
I know she tunes into the show from time to time.
Yeah,
right.
So that was good. Yep.
Yeah. So if she's watching, my mom also tunes in on occasion, and she'll text or call me and be like, "I tuned in and listened today. I have no idea what you were talking about, but you guys sounded like you knew what you were talking about." She's like, she once texted me. She's like, "I have no idea what you guys were talking about on the show today, but you sounded good." And I was like, "Which one did you listen to?" And he's like, "You were talking about positional value and surplus value in the draft." And I was like, listen, I can't hold that one against you because frankly, there's a lot of media and fans and front offices for that matter that don't understand that either. So you're in good company there. But if you guys are listening, we'll appreciate you and love you. A happy Mother's Day to the future defending world champion of mothering, my expectant wife, who it's technically Mother's Day for her as well today. So big Mother's Day for me. So that it's been a good time. And I had a lunch, tzatziki's little post-church tzatziki. You a tzatziki's guy? You a Greek guy?
I've never been to tzatziki's, but man, I would absolutely smash some right now. That sounds delicious. Like I've never been there, but I see it all the time. I'm like, damn, I should really go get some, but I've not been.
Well, we'll have to go sometime. Glory Holt's in the comments saying happy Mother's Day to JT in particular. I guess screw me then. That's cool. A couple of things. We're already like 5 minutes into the show and we've not talked anything about football. We do have some football things to talk about today. We're talking about Bill Callahan and we're talking about Big Bertha and we're talking about T'Vondre Sweat and we're talking about the first day of rookie minicamp. Basically, a chunk of show and tell for you today on the show. We're going to keep it relatively short and sweet today, about 30-45 minutes of stuff to talk about, but important stuff nonetheless. So we'll get into all of that. First, you had a correction that you wanted to implement from the last show when, again, you were not here. I was talking about how Tracy Rocker, the Titans' new defensive line coach, you informed me that he is actually Kumar Rocker's father. Or actually, no, I was informed that he was Kumar Rocker's father at camp. Kumar Rocker, Mets legend, Vanderbilt baseball legend, pitcher. Apparently I mischaracterized that situation for your beloved Mets. Was Kumar Rocker a Met or was he not a Met? I thought he was drafted by the Mets.
You said that he was drafted by the Mets and then it didn't work out, so he was traded to the Rangers, which couldn't be further from the truth. Kumar Rocker was drafted by the Mets. However, he never even signed with them. He got to his physical and the Mets said, "Oh, this guy's hurt. This guy's like banged up. We don't want him anymore."
Time out. Okay. I'm not. You can continue. So wasn't he drafted like first round?
Yes, he was the 10th overall pick. in that year's draft.
I am not an MLB expert. I'm not an MLB draft expert. However, you're telling me they drafted him 10th overall,
They did,
did a
and they
post-draft physical on him, and decided
mhm.
he was unhealthy. Do
Yes,
they
they did not sign him, but because
Hang
they
on,
draft
but hang on. Do they not do pre-draft physicals in baseball? Do you
I
just have to kinda
y
guess if a guy's healthy, and then if you get him and he's the box arrives broken, you're just out of luck?
if you're the Mets, I guess so, yes.
The
So
incompetency runs deeper than I thought.
yeah, so then the Mets were awarded the 11th overall pick the next year as compensation for not wanting Rocker, and then Kumar Rocker was allowed to go back to Vanderbilt the next year or just,
Wait.
work
So
on
the
himself,
league
so
gave them they took off 1 pick in the order and gave them next year just a redo pick
yeah,
in the first
basically,
round
essentially.
for just being just a whoopsie, we were wrong. Oh well, don't worry about it. Here's a redo.
Yeah,
That's outrageous. Baseball is so weird. That's
and I
outrageous.
believe they took Pete Crow Armstrong that year to then trade for Javier Baez for
So
55 games, so,
Kumar was on
that's
no teams that first year, and then he was
no,
redrafted.
yes, he was redrafted by the Texas Rangers the next year, I believe, like 13th overall, so and now he's
Baseball,
in their
man.
farm system, so good for him,
Baseball.
you know?
I bet I've
Yeah.
heard he's pitching and doing things, so that's
Yeah,
good,
man.
right? Is he a
No,
good
but
player? I don't even know. I don't know
I
if
don't
he's a
know,
good player.
I he's not on my team anymore, so I
He
don't
was
care.
great in college. I
Yeah.
remember watching him in college. Good pitcher. Okay, the little Vanderbilt baseball for you guys on the show today. What I have one thing, one more take that's not football related, and then I promise we will get to the football. It's Mother's Day, and it's one of the many holidays during the year that rekindles this flame within me. What's your opinion on cards? Not like playing like occasion cards, like happy birthday cards, Mother's Day cards.
My opinion of them is that it's a monopoly by the Hallmark company and that
Right.
they're
Yep.
pretty worthless. Like, I'd rather just get somebody a gift or something instead of, like, a card, I think, unless it's
100%.
funny. Like, I totally would get, like, my brother, like, a happy, like 27th birthday card for him being like
Right, as like a
1 or
bit.
something, or
Sure.
like
Yeah.
congrats on the kid or something, like something like that. Even when it's like, what if it's like Easter and then I get him like a sorry for your loss or something like that? Like
Yeah,
that's a joke kind of thing.
I got my younger brother a happy bat mitzvah card when he turned like 16, I think, which is like
That's
that's a
good.
good bit.
That's good. Yeah.
But that's really all they're good for. I've not bought
Yes.
somebody unless my wife forced me to, or my parents told me I needed to. I have not on my own accord bought somebody a greeting card of any kind in years because I think they are a complete and utter waste of everyone's time and money, and perhaps most importantly, they water down the meaning and sincerity of real cards. I'm not an ungrateful it's like I've never sent a thank you card, I've never sent a happy birthday card. If I mean it and want to send you a card, I will get out a piece of stationery, like a plain card, and write you a meaningful note and send it to you. And I would argue those are significantly more valuable to both me, the sender, and you, the receiver, because one, because not only is it a waste of time and money, bot cards, they are excuses to be lazy because they've got the stupid sympathy laugh pre-written message on there on the outside and inside, and then you write one sentence: "Hey, hope you have a great day. Love you so much. Signed, Easton." Should go in the trash. That's a piece of junk. It's insulting for somebody to think you think highly of them to receive that, in my opinion, because it is the minimum possible effort, and I think it waters down when somebody actually is meaning something. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a
What I
ruse. I think it's
so
a societal
yeah.
standard that is stupid and propagated by the people making money off the cards, and I think we need to end it.
Well, a lot of the money that they make off the cards is going towards those Hallmark movies. So, like, at the same time, I kind of am for it, like those terrible Hallmark Christmas movies
Right.
and things like that. Those are kind of electric sometimes. Like, there's some good
No,
ones. So, like,
you're pro Hallmark movie?
I
This
no,
is not
I
the take
I just said like I could see there are sides, there are levels to this.
not
Now,
the take I was expecting from you. That's
however,
outrageous.
now I know that for every occasion, I'm just gonna get you a card now. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. Like,
And I'm gonna
for your birthday, and
I will tear them up in front of your face and throw them back at you.
that's fine for the $2 that it is to get the card. Like, I'm good with it.
Don't send me cards, people.
Okay.
Don't send me cards.
Send
I'm
him
not I'm
cards.
not
I'll set up
sending
a
you cards.
I will
Don't
set
send
up
me
a
cards.
I will set up a PO box for him, and we
Just
can.
for me to get as many greeting cards. Please do not do that.
I mean, if anybody
Um,
reaches out to me and actually does it, we'll do it.
okay. Football. Let's talk about some Titans football. And Glory Holt's making a good point. Cards, they're also like $7 now. Like you can go to the dollar store. If I have to get a card, that's where I'm going, is the dollar store. Like if you go to, Walmart or Publix, they make music and they've got multiple layers and they're like $8 and it's outrageous. So the Titans had rookie minicamp this weekend. We kind of buried the lead on that. That happened. I was there on Friday, and we got to see these rookies and some mostly rookies, some prove it players out there on the field. We got to see these new coaches on the coaching staff out there getting to work for the first time in their element, and we got to talk to a couple of the Titans' top draft picks as well as the head coach. So a couple of things to show you today, both on and off field highlights from Friday. Before we dive into those here in just 1 second, one last housekeeping thing. If you're watching with us live here on a Sunday, we appreciate you, whether you are taking time out of your Mother's Day activities or using us as an excuse to get away from your Mother's Day activities. We appreciate
Or
you being here.
watching with your mother.
Right. Or you are a mother enjoying your Mother's Day as you should by consuming the Hot Read podcast. Whoever you are, we appreciate you being here live. Do us a favor. If you're watching on Twitter or on Facebook, leave those places. Go to Broadway Sports Media's YouTube page. It's Broadway Sports Media on YouTube. Find this live stream. And in the comment section, you can join Glory Holtz and Jack River and Jacob and Derek and all of these guys who are with us live. And Jacob, I said Jacob twice. Jacob is also here. All of those guys, we appreciate you guys being here. Join them in the comment section over there, and then hit subscribe, hit like. The algorithmic things you can help us out with there. Simple clicks of your mouse, and they are hugely important to us here on the channel as we grow. So we appreciate that. Okay, so just some day one thoughts before we get into some videos here, JT. Every year, this time of year, I am reminded of how silly it is to judge rookies based on their first couple of videos. And we have some homegrown examples of that. I think most Titans fans are familiar with that viral video, which I should have pulled for today's show, but you know the one I'm talking about. Derrick Henry trying to run that drill where he's jumping over the red blocks and he's messing up the footwork and he's trying again. And he looks like he's got two left feet and the coaches are yelling at him and he looks small and weak and bad at football. That kind of thing comes out with a lot of these guys. I saw Xavier Worthy with the Chiefs with a particularly bad clip to bring it more modern just a couple of days ago. These current results are not indicative of future results. Let's just what do they say when when you get a commercial for like an investment fund and it's like past performance does not indicate future results. That's the case with rookie minicamp, and I think
However, on the flip side, we're going into year 3 of Justin Ross being a offseason king.
First ballot Hall of Fame rookie minicamp guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if the guy looks really good, it goes the totally opposite way for him.
I mean, Kyle Phillips unfortunately fits that bill as well.
True.
Kyle Phillips is maybe not first ballot, but he's in Hall of Fame contention for practice.
Every single year, he's getting votes for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So there's that. The other major thing, and we're going to talk specifically about the Titans' top 2 picks today in J.C. Latham and Devondre Sweat, but Bill Callahan, who's another guy we're going to talk about a lot today. And we spoke to him for the first time on Thursday. If you listen to Thursday's show where it was just me, we talked a lot about and listened to a lot of what Bill Callahan had to say to us. But on Friday is when we saw for the first time Bill out there in his element, doing the whole coaching thing and being the guru that we've been talking him up to be. And I know it's one day, and I know it's rookie minicamp, and there's context involved here. However, the aura is strong with this guy, man. It fits the bill. He lives up to the hype in terms of just and maybe it's a reflection of what the prior coaching staff situation was with Coach Haas last year, who was much younger, much more inexperienced, much more shaky footing as an established coach in the league. But the difference from what I saw last year over in the O-line pit at the bottom of the field at St. Thomas Sports Park and what we saw just on first day drills with these young guys that barely know anything. Oh, it's different, man. And we're going to show a clip here in a minute of Bill coaching up J.C. Latham for like a full minute. And it's not a great example. Like, it does not do justice to what I watched for an hour on Friday, but it's enough, I think, to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. The guys, I've never watched anybody coach any lineman, defensive or offensive, that makes it compelling to watch. And I sat there not bored for a full hour just watching him work on Friday. He's got the goods, I think.
Yeah, I mean, now that's an interesting conversation though, because now rip one of the greatest inventions of all time, which was the pit, which I mean we have to. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna come back to that real quick because
The
when you
sand
talk
pit you're
about
referencing?
yes,
Well,
the
the
sand
sand
pit.
still exists.
Oh, it does. Okay,
Yeah, no,
so it
sorry.
may
This
not
is
just get used.
on
Okay,
one end, you got the sand pit. On the other end, you've
gotcha.
got I shouldn't have used the word pit. Don't worry. There's still gonna be some fellas sent to the pit. I'm
All right,
certain.
all right. I hope so.
That's not a rookie mini camp thing, but in August, boys are gonna be going to the pit, the
Okay,
punishment pit.
yeah,
This is like because they have 3 main football fields that are I don't think they're full length, but 3 football
yeah.
fields. And then on one end, you've got the facility and the weight room and the sand pit and the
Mhm.
indoor facility. And then on
Yep.
the other end zone, you've got a like 40-yard by 40-yard like gridded chessboard painted up section for the linemen to just go down there and do big boy meaty men stuff. So there's that. So
Um,
don't worry. I'm sorry to alarm
yes.
you there.
No, you're good. I just for my sake and everyone else in here, I just wanted to get some representation for the pit, and hopefully we see it later on. But I think a lot of the biggest point with the aura of Bill Callahan and what made you so excited is because everything that precedes Bill Callahan, getting to watch this guy who is a bona fide stud, maybe the best to ever do it at this position in coaching this position, be able to work with these guys, I think just totally kind of goes on top of what you're seeing him do with some of these players. Seeing a guy who is that fine tuned of teaching this craft, I think is something that Titans media and Titans fans alike have not seen maybe ever.
Well,
Um,
since Munchak was
since
that guy,
Munchak,
but that's
but
it's
I think even
2014. It's been a decade.
exactly. It's been a decade, but even now, I think this guy has the case to be even better than him. And, that's something that is just going to be so cool to watch as they continue to develop these guys like JC Latham. And then when we get into regular OTAs and mandatory minicamp, guys like Peter Skoronski and Lloyd
Mhm,
Cushenberry, who he talked about on Thursday, he's super, super high on and
mhm,
probably is one of the reasons he is here in the building. And then a
perhaps.
lot of the guys like Jalen Duncan, MPF, who's going to fight for that right tackle spot. Him getting to work with those guys, I think is going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I was hyping up just how fun it was to watch him coach, I had people on Twitter being like, "Well, hey, Mike Munchak, you don't remember No, I was not. I was not on the beat at 14 years old. I'm sorry, I'm not that old. Um, but I do remember him, and I know he's a good coach. So there's that. Let's actually take a look at some of this, JT. And if you wouldn't mind pulling up this first clip, these are videos from Friday against Bertha, this strange looking sled. Can we get this to play, JT? Is it okay? Cool. Just making sure it works.
Yeah.
This is Bertha the sled. It is a special sled designed by Bill Callahan himself. And it is different from your traditional sled because, as you can see here in the video, they call it the S dummy is the part that you're actually going up against. It is connected to the heavy sled part by a complicated system of springs that have both lateral and horizontal movement. And so the whole point of them for the layman is it is not about raw power. Unlike a traditional sled where it's just leverage is important, sure, but it's just about how strong you are and how much push you can get. This one is about control and technique. Power, of course, helps. Don't get me wrong. And half of this video is mine, half is Jim Wyatt to give proper credit. And Jimmy's video, it's kind of annoying because Jimmy's video went super viral. If you saw this video, you probably saw Jimmy's version on Twitter and not mine. And what's frustrating is because in mine right here, you can see there's Jimmy in the background in the blue shirt. But Jimmy's video, I'm standing in the background and I look like a complete moron. I'm
Oh, I didn't even
standing.
notice you. Now I got to
Just
go
in a
back
minute,
and
you'll
look.
see.
Okay.
I don't know why I look so dumb, but I look really dumb in the background here. Let's see. There I am. Do you see me right there in the background? You'll see more
Yeah.
of me in a second. Anyways, it is about technique, and most importantly, it's about leverage you can get with your hips. Is what a lot of linemen online. There I am again, looking like a moron. Have said it's all about getting the proper leverage, having the proper balance left to right. It better mimics a defensive lineman being the low man winning. Again, looking like a moron.
You look like
It,
you were in awe of what he
I
just did,
was. I
to
was
be
just standing
honest.
there kind of flabbergasted a little bit. That being said, you can see in this rep that JC Latham, it takes him a second to figure it out. Doesn't work quite at first, and he loses control of the spring portion. And then he finally gets, because he is, again, probably the most powerful player in last year's draft. He gets up under there, he gets that thing moving, and the wet grass kind of, the sled gets stuck in there. It's a 380-pound sled called the Climber, I believe is the name of it. You can, by the way, if you want to start a GoFundMe, I know our buddy Nick Suss put this out there. GoFundMe for, if you want to buy one for Titans Media to embarrass themselves trying to go up against. I think they're like $1,400 or something. So
I think it's like 2,500.
okay,
Which,
a lot of dollars.
Yeah,
So we can work
pretty
on that.
penny.
Anyways, that's an impressive piece of machine. They got a lot of machinery out there, by the way, that's new, which I was immediately evident. I don't know why they decided new coaching staff, new digs, I guess. But this is what JC Latham went up against a lot. And I want to play this clip from Brian Callahan talking about the sled that, again, he said, I don't know if y'all know this, and you may not believe me. My father invented this thing. Here's what he had to say regarding Big Bertha.
It's designed in a way to more accurately mimic what it feels like to have to clamp and brace on, like what a normal defender would feel like. Some of the old school sleds, they don't really give you that same balance issue, and they're really hard to move. I mean, those I can't tell you how hard those things are to move, and to move straight, because they tip and they're off balance. They're meant to really stress guys' ability to strengthen their core, keeping their hands tight, and be able to drive a sled vertically as opposed to getting all off kilter. It's a balance thing. So there's a lot of indoctrination that goes into those sleds. Our guys, even now, it's taken them a couple weeks to feel good about, moving them the way they're supposed to move. So it's fun to watch. I like watching those guys do it, but they improve pretty quickly. It happens fast.
Yeah.
And then we asked JC, what was it like going up against this new sled? Have you gone up against a sled like this before? And here was his answer.
I mean, it's 380 pounds.
It's Devondre Sweat.
We have a sled similar to it, not exactly like that, but we just put our coaches on it. So it's kind of, the same in that sense, but I mean, it really emphasizes technique. On my first rep where he wanted us to move it, I shot out my hips and kind of got it straight up. And if you get it straight up, you're not going to move it as a D lineman. It'll be a stalemate. So you really kind of got to gradually drive as you rise with your hips. So that's something that I was learning as I went. But I really emphasize technique though.
One more clip here from JC before we talk about this. We asked him about what it's like out there on the field with Brian Callahan. We know that he spent a lot of time pre-draft and now post-draft talking with him in the classroom, in the film room, learning from the guys, soaking up as much knowledge as possible. What's it like being out there on the field working with this guy and having him in your ear? And here's what he had to say.
Intricate with the detail of the work, and he'll let you know if you had a bad rep, he'll just tell you your rep sucked. And then, but if you did good, he'll let you know you did good. He'll show you areas to improve in, and he's really intricate. Even in the meetings, he'll show us the film and on what it should look like, how it's supposed to be done. He'll talk to us about it, and then he'll even just grab random guys and be like, "Hey, all right, let me see you do this, do that." He grabbed me earlier when we were in the meeting, and we were going over our stance, and I was in my stance for like 2 minutes. So he was trying to show us and show me like how to keep the knee bend and the weight distribution and all that. But yeah, he's a great coach. I totally missed the question. My bad.
So that's JC Latham on his new coach, Bill Callahan. And then, gosh, I'm gonna mess that up 7,000 times, and people are gonna correct me every time. Part of my soul is gonna die every time they do. What? Any thoughts on that, JT? Before the last bit on Bill that I want to play is this video that I took, kind of demonstrating what it was like for an hour, how hands-on he is with any of his players. But any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's perfect to show the video because, like you said, it's a totally different look for who this offensive line coach and staff is. Being so hands-on is something that we haven't seen even going back to Keith Carter. Like, it was not like this. Like, it wasn't this helpful.
The depth of knowledge. It's the depth
Exactly.
of knowledge. It's the fine tuning of the technique, and you're going to see some of that here. Hopefully, some of that here. I've turned up the volume here to be able to hopefully hear what Bill Callahan has to say. Here's a minute of him working with JC Latham, and who else was here? Let me double check here to give proper credit. Xavier Godlin, I believe, a center who was one of their UDFAs. Yeah, that's who it was, Godlin. So Godwin and Latham on a sled. I don't know the name of this sled, but I believe they're working on finish here, and they're on their knees, and it's about firing with your hips, is my understanding. And here is Bill coaching them up on it.
Billy, you feel it? Okay, let's lock up. Okay, let's press that forehead to the pad. Then press that forehead to the pad. Let's get the hands locked. Put your press a little bit more, Jason. Press right up. Press your forehead. Put your hand right in there. Ready on the ball. We're ready. Go! There you go. Good. All right. Again. Do it again. 2 shots. Hey, fellas. Don't be hesitant about bringing those up and back. Bring them back. Okay. This is all thrust. Okay. It's going forward. Okay. It's going to go back and then it's going forward. It's like a piston. Got me? The explosiveness you can work your elbows in your hands. You really loosen your arms. Don't have tightness. Don't have tension in your arm. Be really loose so you can strike loose. We're ready on the ball. We're ready. Go! That's one more here. That's it. You got it. Hey, fellas, let's do it again. Okay, really loosen the arms now so you can really deliver with speed in the hands. Loosen the arm so you have the speed. Lower your hands a little bit, Jason. Here we go. We're ready. Go! All right. Nice job. So that's a good rep. Hey, those next 2, you go here.
That's what it was all day long. Never has offensive line drills in t-shirts and shorts, not even wearing pads, no contact in May. Never has this been so heavily scrutinized as it was on Friday. But man, it was an exciting first day out there watching. I don't think anybody watched any of the other players. We'll get plenty of time to watch Travis Brownlee and Cedric Gray and Jaquan Jackson, and we'll see these guys. Don't worry, later this month. But for now, it was all focused on these guys, and for good reason, because it's Bill being so detailed, so hands-on. It's the most minor detail. Hey, JC, lower your hands just a little bit here. Hey, don't be afraid to don't hesitate. Fire the arms. Hold your elbows at this angle. Like all of that stuff, the tiny little things, the adjustments that he is making. The guy knows his stuff, and it watching him all day reminded me of listening to Rand Carthon the first time we heard him post having hired Bill, talking about how they brought Bill in, had their first meeting with, as he calls him, Big Coach. And everybody else was just in awe because this guy went on for 30, 45, 60 minutes about stuff that we're just like, oh, I don't even know what this guy's talking about. The depth of knowledge. This is a 401. It's a 501 class on offensive line play. That's what Bill Callahan's dishing out every time they're on the field.
Yeah, I mean, the cadence he also kind of teaches with is something that you don't really get from a football coach, right? It's usually you think of it as something that is so brash and hardcore, but
do it again.
Really, exactly.
Get off your ass. Yeah.
the ability to kind of do that, I think is going to go miles for a lot of these players, including JC Latham and these rookies, and also guys like MPF and Dylan Radins and a couple other of these guys who I don't think have ever seen that style of coaching before. And seeing something like that, where William points out in the comments, do you think that the Titans got enough protection in the draft to protect Levis? With this guy coaching like this, I think that there could be a lot of potential. It's hard to say, but just based on the coaching alone,
yeah,
I think they have a really good shot to be able to protect Levis really, really well.
Well, that's essentially my answer to William's question as well. William, like, if you've listened to me at all pre-draft, you knew I was high on, like, hey, I wouldn't mind them drafting back-to-back linemen. I would like them to come out of this draft with 2 starting caliber linemen, potential starter linemen. They didn't do that, but my answer is essentially, if Bill Callahan was not in the picture and it was just your average offensive line coach in the fold, I guarantee you I'd be pessimistic. If it's still Coach Haas, if it was somebody else, I would probably be telling you, the weapons are nice. What they've done in free agency is nice. I still don't know about this offensive line. My answer now is I still don't know, but I have confidence in the ability of Bill Callahan to get these guys coached up to where I'm not confident it's doom and gloom. I really am not. I think they may have gotten enough, the minimum requirement of talent infused with the maximum ability from Bill Callahan to get these incumbent and new players coached up, that I'm at least intrigued to see what the full unit in pads in August looks like. Because last year, the state of the line was pretty obvious early. You go back to those practices where you had the edge players coming off the field and they're like, oh, yeah, 12 sacks today. You're like,
Arden Key
bragging sacks. And we're like, Arden Key is the best player ever. No, actually, Arden Key is a pretty good edge rusher. and it was the canary in the coal mine of this line sucks. They're bad. I'm curious to see. I don't think that's going to be happening again this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's move on to T'Vondre Sweat. And JT, let's go ahead and throw up some of his highlights from Friday. Big T'Vondre Sweat was out there, all 366, 76, however heavy he is right now. Here's the thing. I had somebody walk up to me while we were watching him being like, what do you reckon he's at now? Do you think he's still at 366 from the combine? And I'm like, listen, man, here's the reality. I have a good frame of reference for like, if that guy looks 215 versus 240, you know, like if you're in a normal person weight range, like I can kind of eyeball it. What's my frame of reference for 360 versus 380? I have no idea. Yeah,
and like it's an athletic 360. Like you can't like, you know, like it's so tough.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, because we're standing there watching both the offensive and defensive line, and I'm telling the guy, look at T'Vondre and look at JC. Those guys are only 40 pounds apart. They're both 3 bills. And yet they look like they're 100, 120 pounds different. Because JC carries I'd say he carries 360 or 370 or whatever he is, like a pretty normal 360. He's just so athletic underneath the weight, and he throws the mass around really well. T'Vondre is that way. With JC at 340, where he's at 335, whatever he currently is, it's the most athletic. Like, if I didn't know what he weighed, I would look at him, especially in the context of their offensive lineman, and say he's probably maybe right at 300, 295 will be my guess because of the way he carries it. Now, his height it helps because he's kind of stretched out in that way. You know, guys that are tall are sometimes sneaky heavy because they're just bigger people, tall and not quite round. He's not a round guy, but like and I saw a pre-draft. I think it was Glory Holtz that I saw on Twitter talking about pre-draft. Apparently, he had nearly, was it 280, almost 280 pounds of lean muscle in terms of biometric. Like, you know, you step on the biometric scale and it tells you what your body composition is. If that's true, that's outrageous. Maybe it was 170. The point is, it was an outrageous amount of lean muscle on this guy, and he looks the part. So all of that being said, with T'Vondre, what you're looking at here, if you're watching with us on YouTube or on social media, looked good for day one. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect 100% from him. And I don't know. You tell me, JT. I saw it in person. I'm watching it back here on video. It's day one. You know, I'm sure he's not going 1,000%. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But for 370, 375 is what I'm guessing he's probably at. Combine 366 is probably, you know, shedding all the water weight, fasting for 24 hours. That's probably the bare minimum, I'd imagine. So even if he's at 375 right now, I thought he looked fine.
Which makes sense because he looks as fast and physical as he did when we saw him at the Senior Bowl.
On the tape. How about that? Yeah, exactly.
It's, you know, even if it is no longer that water weight and he's back towards like where he was at the Senior Bowl because he doesn't have to fit himself into a box right now. Of course, they got to work on that, but he looks like the absolute bulldozer that I comped him to way back then. Like, this is a guy that I think, as his position coach said, can play all 3 downs. He looks fast and physical, and I think you're just going to see more of that. I can't wait to see drills where he is going up against other guys, because, you know, as much as you can look at this guy and him throw a dummy to the side, and with that throw the assistant coach kind of as well with that power in his hands and his arms, like, we can't really know for sure until we see him go up against other guys.
Well, let's get his head coach's opinion on how he looked day one. So here is Brian Callahan. We asked him, what'd you think about big T'Vondre Sweat? First day out on the field. Here's what he thought.
Good today. I thought he moved well. You know, you never know when guys get here what they're going to look like, and I thought he did a nice job. Looked like the guy we saw on tape, which was good to see.
You mentioned,
yeah, we have a lot of good people in place here. Anytime that you have anything with rehab, with weight, with strength, anything that goes into trying to make sure guys are where they need to be, there's a team approach, you know, where everyone's involved in it. Lauren, our nutritionist, she plays a big role with a lot of guys, and we have the same conversations about guys that might be underweight. You know, you have some of the lower body fat guys who are trying to make sure they maintain so they don't get hurt, and so it's a process that goes between Zach Woodfin, the performance group with Lauren, and then the player engagement as well, you know, with Chick and Mitch and Hansley. Those 3 people have a lot to do with how that gets handled with the off the field part too. And so the short-winded way of saying is that there's a lot of people that are involved in the process that have touch points with all the players, and we need those people to be on top of guys. Tavondre is one of the guys that'll be managed and monitored because we're trying to make sure he gets to the right place when it's time to play football.
Jason.
All right, let's pause it right there. So that last part you heard was him answering a question about the support staff for Tavondre Sweat, what his help around him looks like at this stage in the offseason, and all of the people involved with his fitness, his nutrition. And this next part, you're going to hear from Tavondre himself at the podium talking about how happy he is to be here and what he has done post-draft to keep himself in shape and be ready for rookie training camp. So let's listen to that part.
I felt great just being here, in Nashville. It's amazing. And it was awesome to be out there today.
Brian Callahan, he said he was satisfied and pleased with how you were coming in. What were some of the things you did between the draft and now? I saw the video, you and Xavier Worthy and some of the guys at Texas, but what else?
Yeah, before I got here, me and the 11 guys that got drafted out of UT, hook them, but we all worked together just at the facility and just got it in.
Let's pause it there real quick, JT. This last answer from him is addressing his ideal weight and him bringing it up before we really could ask the pointed question. What is your ideal playing weight? What does that look like? Let's listen to Tavondre one last time.
It's a challenge all the time, but right now, before anyone else asks, right now, me and my nutritionist and my coaches, we're looking to find that perfect weight for me to play at. So I don't know that perfect weight before y'all ask, but y'all see when y'all see, So.
And we got to a portion of his press conference. I talked to you about this afterwards, JT. It struck a human chord in me at one point, and this is about as soft as you'll hear me be, but it was the reality of the situation. Like, all the questions became about weight, and there was a moment where he gave a look to Robbie on Titans PR, and Robbie gave him a look back. It was just like, I don't know, maybe I was overreading the situation. I felt bad for the guy for a moment because he's making a lot of money. This is the position he's put himself in. He's lucky to be where he is, and it's our job to ask these kinds of questions. But at one point, it became like 6-7 questions in a row about the weight, and I was putting myself in his shoes as a guy that's a little bit younger than me. If I was 22 years old and I'd worked to accomplish my dream, and I got to the NFL, and my first day of practice, nobody cares about what I'm actually doing on the field. They just care about they just want to ask how fat I am. That would there'd be a part of me that's upset by that a little bit. I don't know. So I felt bad for the guy in real time. That being said, I think he looked good. He's expecting those questions. It is what it is. It's going to continue to be the line of questioning with him. And until he can get out there and prove people right or wrong about their preconceived notions of him on the field, it's going to be a lot of what if questions. And that's where we're at.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Like, I think for us on this show, it's going to be what we see on the tape and what we see in person going forward,
Right, playing real football. Yes.
Those other things, they come with it if it becomes a problem, or, hey, this is why he's being this way. Like, I don't think it should be the main point because of, like we said, like, even before like the Senior Bowl, honestly, we really didn't even think about his weight. We just knew that he was a big guy with the technical tools and traits to get after it. And that's what we're seeing now. And that's what makes me so excited to see this guy day in and day out.
So that was Tavondre Sweat's first day. Those are the big boys. We got them covered. 2 more clips before we get out of here on a Mother's Day Sunday. This first one is from Brian Callahan. We asked him, what's your message on day one to these rookies? What is the overarching theme for the Brian Callahan, that was a fun way of saying that, of the Brian Callahan camp process? And here was his message to the young guys.
You want guys to not fear failure. That's one of the things that I pointed out this morning, is that there's going to come times where you don't want to get too tight and try too hard to make a play. And one of the things that we tell everybody is, if you don't fear failure, you got to play with a little bit of looseness and aggressiveness. And when you make a mistake, make it full speed and we'll fix it. Just don't make it again. Don't repeat mistakes. And those are sort of the core things that you want guys to feel when they come out here, that we're not going to judge you on your mistakes, but we're going to judge you on how quick you fix them. And I think that's something that young players probably don't hear very often, and you don't want them to get tight to where they don't feel like they get paralyzed by trying to be perfect, and then we don't want that. You do have to remind them though that there's a lot of football to come, and we're not, no one's winning a job on the first day of the rookie minicamp. Command.
And while that's not a particularly unique message, it is, I think, the right one. And it's something that I can tell he got through to the guys, because a couple of the rookies we heard from, which we're not going to play those clips, but some of them repeated that pretty much verbatim in terms of what they had heard the message be from their coaches, and they're trying to enact that out there on the field. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. No one's winning a job today. And if you're going to make a mistake, make it loud and proud, and don't make the same mistake twice. That's the right way to go through camp and go through life, I think. This last clip here is from Brian Callahan on Cedric Gray. A little bit of non-big boy talk today. One little morsel here at the end. Cedric Gray, the Titans' 4th round linebacker pick, who is the favorite going into camp to be the green dot play caller for the Titans on defense. We asked Brian about what he's seen from Cedric so far in terms of being a leader, in terms of being a green dot capable player as a rookie. Here's what he had to say.
As you saw today, they did some sort of 11-on-11, more walkthrough, introduced a couple coverages. You see the command there is being able to get people lined up, communicate amongst the defense. You see him interact with his peers off the field, in the locker room, in the building, in the meeting room. So there's things you can glean from it. A lot of it's going to have to do with how quickly he can understand the information and then be able to communicate it to others in a live moment. Now, there's no live football here to be played, but that's where you'll see how quickly he can pick it up. There's an important part of that process of determining if he has that leadership ability.
Knowing that.
And we don't have anything to play from it, but we did speak with Cedric on Friday. It's not that he had nothing remarkable to say, but we'll get some actual. It was a lot of generalization stuff. We'll get some more specific insight from him later on this summer. It was my first time really. I could have spoken to him. He was at the Senior Bowl, right?
Yes.
Could have spoken to him at the Senior Bowl. I didn't.
Only one player for the Titans didn't go for the Senior Bowl. So if you ever have that question again,
that's a great point.
It's probably yes.
I made that point at one point. I should remember that. Right. And then I didn't speak to him at the Combine either. So this was kind of my first time getting to read the vibe on him. Kind of a softer spoken dude, well spoken though, and so I say softer spoken, just like he's like you got a mature vibe to him, a mature energy, a steady leader, lead by example, maybe more than lead by words kind of guy, which can absolutely work as a middle linebacker. And I'm excited to see him interact more with his teammates, interact more with us in the media as we get into some real football, because I do think he's the favorite to be the green dot. That's about it from today. Anything else, JT, before we get out of here?
No.
All right, well, hey, we'll be back on Tuesday. Hey, guess what this week is? We got a little schedule release, I believe, is in the works this week.
Oh, boy. So, our favorite week of the year, man.
I know, and you don't know this. I'm telling you, I go way overboard on the schedule release. It's my thing. Like, I tweeted the other day, I don't understand why people, like, love these. What's all the hubbub over these jersey numbers? Who cares? I say, as somebody that in a week is about to go crazy over the schedule release, because everybody has their thing they care way too much about. Mine's the schedule release. And then
this will be interesting because I do not care whatsoever.
So. Right. So I'll make you listen to me babble about it for about an hour. And then
I love it.
You don't even know this. I don't know what we're doing on Thursday because I'll be at the opening round of the PGA Championship in Kentucky. I'm going to that, and that's going to be fun for me. And you may have to do on the show by yourself. I might take my one PTO day off. It might be a JT only show on Thursday. We shall see. Maybe you find a guest that I wouldn't approve of, and you guys can just chop it up and do whatever you want. We'll see. But we'll be back on Tuesday and on Thursday. 2 more this week. We're 3 a week until future notice. Until Tuesday, we appreciate you guys tuning in live. Please hit like, hit retweet, hit subscribe on your podcast platforms.
We are less than 100 subscribers until we hit 1,000. So
let's go. If you are our 1,000 subscriber on YouTube, we will send you a sizable cash prize. The quantity of which will remain unnamed until the person wins, but I will use the vague term sizable to entice you into subscribing to YouTube. So please subscribe and get us to 1,000, because that's a cool number to be at. So we appreciate you guys and all your support. Do all that subscribing, do all that liking, hit retweet, hit share, be a friend, tell a friend. Until Tuesday, for producer JT, I'm your host, Easton Freeze. This has been the Hot Read Podcast. We'll talk to you in a couple of days.